why your CV never reached the hiring manager, and how to fix this. You've probably seen the headlines. One job opening, 500 applicants. Tech is dead. Well, let me tell you what really happened when I opened a backend Java engineering position recently. Spoiler. The numbers are misleading, the CVs are messy, and the real issue is that most people have no idea how to tailor a CV to the job they are applying for. Let's talk about that. I opened the position on Friday. By Monday morning, 350 applications. Sounds like the world is ending for software engineers, right? Actually, not really. My talent acquisition partner filtered out 300 of them immediately. Not because we are evil, but because they were widely irrelevant. People applying just in case. People with zero backend experience. People who apparently read Java backend and thought, why not? So, those 350 applicants? No. The job market isn't that overcrowded. People are just applying to absolutely everything, which indeed means that there are fewer positions than before. But here is the real position, and after filtering out all irrelevant applicants, we still have no one to move to the finals. I received 50 CVs. Not bad, I thought. This is where the real competition starts. I picked 5 to interview, and none passed the initial technical screening. This is not a story of so many geniuses, no jobs. It is a story of sloppy and generic CVs, and CVs that tell me nothing about who you are and what you can actually do. Let's talk about the CV accuracy disaster. Some CVs look like the person was fighting with Microsoft Word and lost badly. Date format switching randomly, library spelled differently every time. Java, 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 choose your fighter. Entire sections having zero context, missing dates, missing timelines, missing logic. If your CV looks chaotic, I assume your code looks the same. And if your code looks the same, we will not be colleagues. And then, the job coach template army. There are perfectly formatted, beautifully structured CVs that are all identical clones. Somewhere there must be a secret Google Drive folder titled Senior Java Engineer, bullet points that sound impressive but mean nothing. Always the same. Improve performance by 20%, reduce backlog by 10%, optimized processes and collaborated across teams. Amazing! But this tells me absolutely nothing about your experience, and certainly not enough to pick you over a dozen others saying the same thing. And there is another advice I see you applicant folks start incorporating to your CVs in order to fight ageism, like skip your very old jobs from the CV document or remove dates of your education and so on. But I have no freaking idea who you are behind the info about your more or less recent job experience. So, most candidates treat every job like it is the same, and it is not. A backend role in a 20-year-old retail company, a Series A startup, a fintech, a logistics platform, a streaming service are all completely different jobs. Yet 45 out of 50 CVs made no attempt to reflect any of that. Everything was generic. Java, Spring Boot, microservices, Kafka, MySQL, experience, solid. This is not a personalization. This is a shopping list. How do I know you are better than other hundreds of folks who put Kafka into their CV? Please, do something so I could distinguish. I cannot talk to 50 people to close one position. So, how to tailor your CV, even when the job description is vague. Let's get into the part that can certainly boost your chances. People often say, but Sergey, job descriptions are vague. How do I know what they want? True. Job descriptions can be overgeneralized, copy-pasted, written by someone who doesn't know the role, intentionally generic due to an HR policy, but you still can and should make a high-level judgment about the company and tailor accordingly. And let me show you how. First example, when it is a major business-critical company, think like retail, logistics, healthcare, finance, the environment usually means high impact of downtime. Money is lost per minute of incident. Operational excellence is the king. Incident response matters. So what you should highlight in your CV in this case? DORA metrics, MTTR, MTBF, deployment frequency, incident handling, on-call, RCA, rollback strategy, experience with SLOs, SLIs, error budgets, building resilient services, reducing production incidents, improving uptime, lowering GMV loss. A sample bullet point for your CV: lead incident response for payment processor outage, reduce MTTR from 45 minutes to 8 minutes, preventing high GMV loss. That gets my attention. When it is a startup, startups often don't know their customer yet, pivot frequently, have lower traffic, fewer mission-critical flows, need engineers who are business-aware, flexible, and collaborative. So what you should highlight then? Collaboration with product managers, ability to translate business needs into technical decisions, basic data skills, SQL, analytics, dashboards, experiments, A/B tests, taking ownership end-to-end, ability to work with vague requirements. And the sample bullet point then is work closely with PMs to define MVP scope and use data highlights to prioritize features. Increased user activation rate by 12%. That says, I'm startup ready. When the company owns the system, which is a low volume but complexity is high, something like B2B, internal tooling, workflows, then you should probably highlight domain modeling, correctness over speed, maintainability, working with cross-functional teams, designing systems that evolve cleanly. A sample bullet point then is design a modular workflow engine with clear domain boundaries, reducing onboarding time for new engineers by 40%. When the system is high volume, something like streaming, fintech, ads, logistics tracking, then the highlights could be performance tuning, data partitioning, caching strategies, queue systems, resilience against spikes, horizontal scaling. And a sample bullet point is redesign pricing service to handle 50K RPS peak traffic with less than 50 milliseconds latency. That sounds inspiring. So the golden rule is, if the job description is unclear, you can still infer what the company probably cares about. You don't need to guess the entire architecture. You just need to speak their language at a high level. That is usually enough to stand out. So after seeing hundreds of CVs, here is the truth. To stand out, you don't need a flashy layout or a 7-page biography, a motivational paragraph, generic bullet points. You just need accuracy, clean formatting, consistent spelling, zero typos. Relevance, speak to the environment company likely lives in. Differentiation, include concrete, meaningful achievements that show your thinking. Do this, and I promise, out of 350 applications, you'll be in the top 10 easily, and probably even in the top 5%. So next time you apply to a job, don't send the same CV you sent everywhere else. Make it clean, make it relevant, make it tailored, make it yours. And you'll be surprised how many interviews suddenly start appearing. So if you enjoyed this inside look into engineering hiring, subscribe and like the video. See you next time.